In this part, I'm going to talk about the challenge that is announced by the Azure Purview regarding the developer, the customer, and the administrator, and the security that is guaranteed by this service.
Traditionally, discovering enterprise data source has been an organic process based on a communal knowledge. For companies that want the most value from their information asset, this approach presents many challenges. The first one is because there is no central location to register data source. User might be unaware of the data source unless they come into a contact with its part for another process. Also, unless user know the location of the data source, they can't connect to the data by using a client application. Data conception experience require a user to know the connection string or the path. Also, the intended use of the data is hidden to user unless they know the location of the data source documentation. Data source and documentation may live in several places and be customized through different kind of experience. If users have a question about any transformation asset, they must locate the expert or the team that's responsible for the data and engage them offline. Unless users understand the process for requesting access to the data source, discovering the data source and its documentation won't help them access the data. Discovery challenge for a data producer. Users who are responsible for producing and maintaining information asset face challenge of their own. First, annotating data source with a descriptive metadata is often a lost effort. Client application typically in your description that are stored in the data source. Next, creating a documentation for a data source can be difficult, and it's ongoing responsibility to keep documentation in sync with the data source. User may not trust documentation that perceive as being out of date. Also, creating and maintaining documentation for a data source is complex and time-consuming. Making that documentation readily available for anyone who uses the data source can be even more so difficult. Also, restricting access to a data source and ensuring that the data consuming know how to request access is ongoing challenge. When such challenges are combined, they present a significant barrier for a company that won't encourage and promote that the user understanding of the enterprise data. Discover a challenge for a security administrator. Users are responsible for ensuring security for their organization. Data may have any other challenge listed above the data as a customer and a producer, as well as a following additional challenge. An organization data is constantly growing, stored, and shared in a new direction. The task of discovering, protecting, and governing your sensitive data is the one that no-end task. You want to make sure that your organization content is being shared with the correct people, application, and with their correct permission. Also, understanding the risk level in your organization's data requires diving deep into your content, looking for the keyword, regex pattern, and the sensitive data type. A sensitive data type includes a credit card number, social security number, or a bank account. You must currently monitor all the data source for sensitive content, as even the smallest amount of the data loss can be critical for your organization. Also, ensuring that your organization continues to comply with the corporate security policies is the challenging task as your content growing and change and the requirement and the policies are updated for the changing data realities.